I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
It was a blast being able to put the driver cat back on and run with these guys. Great group of guys we have in the series, and it was a blast to run for them. Joshua Gaithright picked up the win off of a beautifully timed undercut off of Christian Converse. And it was a very interesting race, very, very action-packed. And even though it's being Pocono and a much different track than Fontana, obviously, it's going to be probably a little bit more of the same, given the same package, same type of racing with a big draft-heavy 2-mile racetrack. So hopefully it puts on just as much of a show as it did last week. Yeah, kinda to a point. I mean, the dirty air is going to be a lot more significant here with everyone being a lot closer and having a lot more speed. But there is definitely going to be a big draft. You know, the giant ass spoilers are going to cause everyone to really pack up. So we're still going to see a lot of that. Maybe not as severe as the mile and a half, but we're still going to see a lot of pack racing tonight. Yeah, you're kind of having to sit and wonder if it's really going to be worth it, you know, because you could, but tire fall off at Fontana has always been incredibly bad. So you're going to lose so much time with completely cheese grated tires. I don't think it's going to be worth it to stay out because you're going to lose all that extra time staying out by people blowing by you on fresher tires. Yeah, but at least it'll help you on the longer run, kind of keeping it not burning them off as much. But yeah, the beginning of the run, it's going to be very sketchy. And you know, given how a few of the pack style races started out this season, it's going to be interesting for sure. Yep, I was already into. That's what they did last week at Pocono. It put us through open qualifying, so I was expecting that. And it's going to be interesting to see who can get lucky and time the run correctly and not be close enough to where it takes the air off the front of the car and they can still nail the corner. Yeah, you can't bump drive. That's the funny thing. As much as it would be faster, it's not going to make it count. So you have to try to figure out how you can get as close as you can to the car behind without making contact with him or the wall. Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see which lines we see taken tonight. You know, I've been in a lot of races at Fontana, and the high line is very popular. So, but with the low horsepower, the inside line is going to be pretty OP as well. So that's also going to be conducive to the pack racing. Is that there are multiple lines that could be used here, and everyone's going to use everything they can to their advantage.
Okay, well, now we've got it so you can hear both of us. Good evening, everybody. My name's Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It's a pleasure to have you joining us here at Auto Club Speedway. Forgot we had to make the configuration change for one of our other shows and flip back here. So, qualifications underway. Taylor Toller at the top of the speed charts, as you have seen. Alan Martin, Darrell Rector, Andrew Chapman, Art Greco, your top five. Following along with Nick Lockard, and I tell you what here, James, we're seeing pretty clearly the draft is worth about a half second a lap around this place.
Yep. That's the fun thing about open qualifying at these big tracks, is that it really boils down to how you can time it, and if you can get lucky and get a big draft and not get too close to where it takes the air off the front of the car and completely ruins your corner.
Yeah, that's sort of what we're seeing here with Evan Kelsey. He's trying to get the big toe from Darrell Rector. See what the lap time is going to look like here. Goes personal best the first half of the racetrack. See what he's going to be able to do here on the second half of the speedway. Kelsey going to jump up to 10th position. His drafting help, well, basically bailed on him. Andy Briganti in the 13 going to have the 22 of Andrew Chapman on his back bumper, and Chapman trying to get the big toe here. Taylor Toller making his way back out onto the racetrack. Big run into 3 for Chapman. Briganti up and out of the way. We'll see how this lap's going to look. Chapman goes quickest in the second part of the racetrack, but not going to be good enough. Still going to be up there in the 5th position. Taylor Toller getting some pretty big drafting help from Mark McCurdy. Down inside of 60 seconds remaining here in qualifications. Taylor Toller, Nick Lockard, Alan Martin, Darrell Rector, Andrew Chapman, your top five. Of note, Wendell Elliott has not gone out onto the racetrack yet. Peter Hodgson has barely turned a lap. Mike Pittman Jr. also not in the pit lane for qualifications. McCurdy's first lap going to be 11th quick, 40.963 seconds. Ticking off the last couple of seconds of qualifying. Taylor Toller goes purple sector 1. See what he's going to do here on the second half of the racetrack. New quick time, 40.345 seconds. Taylor Toller going to be almost 2/10 up on Nick Lockard as the checkered flag flies to end the qualification session.
I'm a little surprised he was able to nail such a good lap down right there. I was afraid he may have pushed a little too wide coming out of the corner, but he timed that run absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that was a pretty monster lap there for Taylor Toller. And see if we don't have him available to get a quick word with here. Tell you what, Taylor, that was an absolutely spectacular lap you set there right at the end of the qualifying session. Congratulations on winning tonight's High Slide Cup Series pole award.
I appreciate it, man. This car is an absolute rocket, and I can't wait to get rolling with it.
What are you thinking here? Is this going to be a strategy race? Is this going to be a long haul? What's the thought process as you get ready to strap in here?
Well, we've been tossing around some ideas here and there on whether we're going to try and play it safe here and just go with the strategy, try and save some tire, or what we're going to do. It's pretty much a little short sprint race right here with only 100 laps. Usually we're running close to 200 here at this track anyway, so I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of play it by ear, and we'll just kind of see what everyone else does, and I'll make a decision from there on out.
All right, Taylor, thank you very much. We appreciate the time, and yeah, field's going to get ready and start getting themselves out onto the starting grid. Let's get you the starting lineup for tonight's race. Taylor Toller and Nick Lockard will make up row number 1. Alan Martin and Darrell Rector will occupy the second row. Row number 3 will have Mark McCurdy and Andrew Chapman. Art Greco and Cody Henderson on row number 4. Evan Kelsey, Jason Miz on row 5. Robert Thorns and Buck Darby in row number 6. Row 7 will have Andrew Schroeder and Andy Briganti. Garrett Velzy, Mike Pittman on row number 8. Row 9, Peter Hodgson and Wendell Elliott. And again, we're anticipating not seeing Garrett Velzy take to the racetrack here. Is at least our understanding of things is he will be in race control this evening. Momentarily here, we will see the iRacing safety car lead the field. Taylor Toller and Nick Lockard on the front row, and getting ready to go for 100 laps. And a little bit of the interesting strategy stuff here they're talking about, James, is we're hearing 30, maybe 35 laps at an absolute maximum on fuel. That'll get you to the end of stage number 1, maybe. Because if you run any short, if you're going to get to lap 30, it doesn't do you any good to run out of gas coming back to that caution flag. So do you think we see somebody try the short pit, take the lead at the end of the stage, and then try to hold it from there, assuming the race goes green the rest of the way?
I believe so. I feel like the tire wear here is so significant that you're going to be losing way too much time staying out, and cautions aren't going to be super likely given how wide the track is and how wide the apron is. So I feel like your best bet is just, doing the smart thing and coming in and take fresh tires as often as you can.
iRacing safety car will make the hard left-hand turn, and as always, race fans, the start of the High Slide Cup Series is all yours. lap number 1 goes in the books, and it's Nick Lockard leading. Darrell Rector, Andrew Chapman, Taylor Toller, Jason Miz. Outside of Lockard at the front here, a lot of side-by-side racing all the way back through this 17-car field. Wendell Elliott did not start here this evening. Challenge for the race lead. Darrell Rector looking inside and Nick Lockard down the front straightaway. New race leader off of turn number 2. Darrell Rector, Taylor Toller, Jason Miz gonna battle side by side. I tell you what here, James, you kind of nailed it pretty well on the head. You can make the passes, you can run a lot of grooves, but ultimately you're still going to have to be at least a little bit safe here. Oh, man, some right side romance from the 4 of Buck Darby into Jason Miz. I'd imagine the 24 is not going to be too happy over the inside there.
Yeah, 24 in my experience doesn't really like contact, so it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back from this one.
Big trouble on the racetrack. Trouble back in the pack. May have started with Buck Darby here. See if we can get you a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay on this one. There was the contact in 3 and 4. From there, they were almost 4 wide getting into turn number 1. Not maybe. They were 4 wide coming down the front straightaway. Oh, big slide up the racetrack.
Wow. What in the world?
Andrew Schroeder with a big hit as well. Also the 710 of Cody Henderson. That was a huge hit. Art Greco had a race car go flat over his head. Get to the replay here on board. Yeah, he went flat underneath the 4 of Buck Darby. I'll tell you what here, James, that may have been almost an issue of something broke on the front of that car and it was not going to turn the way that Buck Darby thought it would on corner entry.
Yeah, it just airmailed it straight into the wall. Good gracious.
Strategy games already being played here. This will get you to the end of stage number 1. Alan Martin electing to stay out in the 0-5. Everybody else heading down pit road. Darrell Rector going to be the first car off the pit lane, followed by Nick Lockard. Andrew Chapman, Taylor Toller. Everybody in the mid 5-second range to 6-second range here on the pit stops. All the way back to 10th place, Jason Miz. Looks like fuel only. For second place, Darrell Rector. Back through 9th place, Mike Pittman Jr. Jason Miz, 14.65 seconds, 13.95 for Art Greco. Peter Hodgson, Andy Briganti with a 19-second stop. Still on the pit lane, just making his way out now is Garrett Velzy, 1 minute 11 seconds. The time of the stop for Velzy. Robert Thorns, Andrew Schroeder, and Buck Darby. Well, now Darby, the only car left on pit road. Thorns and Schroeder both down and away. Wendell Elliott is now on the racetrack. He's going to be scored in the 18th position and will be just completing his first lap of the race. So lights are out on the iRacing safety car. We're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Alan Martin, Darrell Rector on row number 1. Nick Lockard, Andrew Chapman on row 2. Taylor Toller, Mark McCurdy on row 3. Evan Kelsey, Jason Miz. Peter Hodgson making up your top 10. So now, James, Alan Martin is on the separate strategy. Everybody else here stopping at lap number 6. That will get them to the end of stage number 1. Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again, and it is a fantastic start for Alan Martin. Nick Lockard, Darrell Rector going to be side by side off at 2. Lockard going to dive back to the inside, trying to get around Alan Martin for the race lead. James, how much of this in the early stages here is feeling out what you think your car is going to be able to do and where you're going to be able to make time and having that knowledge banked for later in the race?
Quite a bit, you know. You're never really going to know truly how well your car is going to be in a pack like this. You know, even doing pit parties and practice and whatnot, it only kind of replicates it so much, you know, and you're not having everyone driving in anger like they would in actual race scenarios. So you really don't know what your car is going to do in a race like this until you're out there in a pack and feeling how much grip you have or lack thereof.
Front of the field, running side by side in the battle for the race lead. Darrell Rector going to try to shoot the gap here. Get up the middle. Nick Lockard slides up the racetrack. He's going to block off the run from Alan Martin off at 2. Top 10 or so, all running very close together and side by side. Same is not true back in the pack here, though. Once you get outside of this initial gaggle of cars, back to 11th place Peter Hodgson, everybody else sort of single filed out a little bit here. 3 wide across the start-finish line. Evan Kelsey up on the outside. Jason Miz way down to the inside. Oh, big contact. We're going to wad him up again in turn 2.
Oh, my goodness.
Huge hit. The 20 of pole sitter Taylor Toller goes upside down. Wild ride for Taylor Toller. Mark McCurdy also going to be involved in that one. Get you the Hot Shoe Race Tour instant replay. Go on board with the 20.
Wow, oh my, what a shot. That is some top tier production for us, if I do say so myself.
We'll gladly take the credit. That incident actually started, looked like, with Darrell Rector here. Follow this battle down into turn number 1. Oh, McCurdy came down just a little bit. Evan Kelsey with a big hit in that one as well. Tell you what, nice job by some of these cars towards the back of the pack. Andrew Schroeder, Garrett Velzy doing a fantastic job getting those cars woed up quickly enough that they themselves were not collected in this one. Nick Lockard now going to make his way down pit road. He was the race leader. Also, Mike Pittman, Peter Hodgson, Darrell Rector. Obviously, Rector was involved in that incident very heavily. Taylor Toller, Mark McCurdy also making their way down the pit road. So Wendell Elliott will get the lucky dog on this one. He'll get one of his laps back. And I tell you what, James, we're really now looking at a situation here where almost half the field has been involved in incidents, and we're only 13 laps into this thing.
Yeah, good old broadcaster's curse. I said there probably won't be many cautions in this race, and we're wadding cars up, not unlike a certain street course earlier today. So,
yeah, for those of you who may have been watching the NTT IndyCar Series race, we were too. We're sorry, even though we didn't have anything to do with it. That is 11 hours of our lives we will never get back.
Although, as a Willpower fan, I feel like I should probably apologize by proxy.
Yeah, we won't even go into that one. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Hopefully you're enjoying the show here tonight. As a reminder, Super Chat's about a guaranteed way to get you on the air. We also have subscriptions available on the YouTube side of things. Just a couple of bucks a month helps get these National Racing Network broadcasts up on the air. Already approaching the halfway point of stage number 1. And I'll tell you what, James, the strategy call by Alan Martin of staying out here, that's looking like it might pay off because everybody's going to come to the pit lane at the end of the stage. Basically what it means is he's probably going to have one more set of tires than everybody else in the field, though.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I wasn't expecting them to be able to stay out and not get completely run over, but Alan's been doing a great job keeping everyone back there.
Giving everybody the update here on the pit stops. Taylor Toller, Mark McCurdy, Evan Kelsey, and Cody Henderson all still in the pit lane. Buck Darby is back on the racetrack after a 10-minute and 17-second pit stop. 8 minutes, 23 seconds and counting for Cody Henderson. Evan Kelsey, Mark McCurdy, Taylor Toller, all over 2.5 minutes in pit stop time. Mike Pittman, 2 minutes and 8 seconds on the pit road, and he's still on the lead lap. 12 cars is what we're looking at here for a restart. Looks like the drivers are going to lose about 50 seconds on the pit road. So we'll be able to hopefully give you an idea of where they may come in and out as the green flag stops are going to come later in the race. Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again. Alan Martin still at the head of the field. Andrew Chapman, Jason Miz, Art Greco, your top 4. Great run for Andy Briganti. He's up 9 spots to run in 5th. Miz slides up the racetrack, really took the front end off of Andrew Chapman. That's going to give Art Greco a shot down to the inside. Greco will complete the pass on the entrance to turn 3, bringing Andy Briganti and Andrew Schroeder with him. slide back in the pack just a little bit here. Pick up Nick Lockard and Andrew Schroeder. They're tucked in nose to tail. Just back behind them, 4-car battle. Andy Briganti, Robert Thorns, Peter Hodgson, and Garrett Velzy. Looking up towards the front of the field, Alan Martin, Jason Miz had started to break away a little bit. Andrew Chapman, Art Greco were running nose to tail, started to catch back in. Chapman dives down to the inside, down the front straightaway. We work lap number 18. 13 to go to the caution flag at the end of stage number 1. I'll tell you what here, James, one of the big things is with the drivers not having the fast repair or the backup car available, it hasn't necessarily changed the way they're driving much, but we are definitely seeing the speed differences come into play with some of these cars that are now damaged. They just can't keep up with what's at the front of the field.
No, but given everything that's happened tonight so far, I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like if you can just keep it on the track, you'll still wind up with a really nice finish, even with a completely destroyed race car.
Only 3 rounds remaining in the High Slide Cup Series season following tonight's race at Auto Club. Next week, we head for 200 laps at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Follow it up with Chicagoland, and then the season finale at Texas. This second pack of cars working their way forward. Andy Briganti, Peter Hodgson, Andrew Schroeder, Garrett Velzy, Robert Thorns. They're losing time here to everybody that has single filed out at the front of the field, and that includes race leader Alan Martin, Jason Miz, Nick Lockard, Andrew Chapman, Art Greco, the top 5, as we're down to 10 to go here in stage number 1. Lockard looks down to the inside of Jason Miz. He's going to get some drafting help from Andrew Chapman. He's got to tuck back in line as they get to 1. Now, apparently off of his assignment, he was a casualty of the IndyCar race. Patrick Byrne joining us in the booth here. And I tell you what here, Bisley, this has been a pretty good show here so far. Auto Club is one of those places that is perfect for almost any kind of race car, regardless of how fast it goes.
Yeah, Auto Club is amazing. I mean, you could see those 4 or 5 real dark lines in the track. Those are 5 different grooves around this racetrack. You can run all the way against the wall like Kyle Larson likes to around here. You can run all the way down at the bottom like Kyle Busch might like to. And each lane is super competitive, so you can see some crazier racing than even Daytona or Talladega here.
Locker to the inside of Miz, and he's going to get the shove from Chapman. Now Chapman pulls back up in line. Almost feels like Miz is kind of in a sit back and run at 3/4 throttle here. ultimately, I guess it would make the pit stop at the stage break here at lap 30 just a little bit shorter.
Yeah, he's just trying to sit back, get that draft as he shoots up to the high line, maybe trying to make a move here. Maybe he had to check up and decided not to. But yeah, they're going so fast around this track. You can just sit in the draft, kind of like Daytona or Talladega, except instead of trying to go faster, you can do it trying to save your tires and save your fuel as well.
And as we say that, he goes for the lead.
Yeah. Well, these guys have had a habit of making us look dumb, so no real surprises there. 3 wide for second down the front straightaway.
I don't feel like they're purposely trying to make us look dumb. I believe we have a natural ability to actually sway these races one way or the other by making a call an opposite of what's going to happen.
We know some of the drivers are watching us. I'm not sure that anybody is watching us here this evening. The comments have been very quiet. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for here. Heck, even if you're one of the drivers out of the race early in this one, feel free to get on and give us a bit of a hard time here. Taking a look, Buck Darby is back on the racetrack. He's completed 8 laps after 6 minutes in the pit area, currently running in the 18th position. 17th belongs to Evan Kelsey. He is out of this race. Cody Henderson has completed 16 and change laps, 9 minutes, 13 seconds worth of pit repair time after the early incident. Catching up on the number 4 of Darby. Leaders get around him cleanly through 3 and 4. But down to 5 to go in stage number 1, and that 4-car fight now has 3 extra participants as they go to 1.
See Alan Martin shooting down to the bottom, trying to make a move on Jason Miz.
Ooh, almost a little bit of contact there. Miz going to get a great run off the corner. We'll see if he's going to go for the race lead. That's the 710 of Cody Henderson working down to the inside of the racetrack. Cody being scored several laps down. Oh, a little bit of contact. What a save by Alan Martin.
Really had to saw that wheel and chase it all the way up the racetrack. I would love to see an in-car camera of that.
Pucker Factor Zulu for Alan Martin.
That was some hardcore neck code on that one. My goodness.
Go on board here. Okay, I guess it was the next lap out here, but we can't see the steering wheel anyway, so. Looking back to the front of the field, going to be 1 to go here in stage number 1. Lockhart holds on to the race lead. Little bit of a block there on Chapman down the front straightaway. Miz back to third. How about Peter Hodgson now running third?
Oh, Petey Pop making some moves.
Petey Pop Nation gonna lose their stuff. Hodgson up 14 spots from where he started this race this evening. Down to the start-finish line for the end of stage number 1. Oh, almost a little bit of contact with Miz. Nick Lockhart going to claim stage number 1. Andrew Chapman, Jason Miz, Peter Hodgson, Art Greco, your top 5. How about a couple of tenths separating those 5 race cars? Check into the comments here. Mark McCurdy saying, well, that wasn't what I was hoping for. You all do a great job in the booth. Love watching it from Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate the kind words.
Glad to see Andrew Chapman up front right now. He has been the unluckiest guy in the series, and to make it about a third of the way through this race and still be up there is it's a blessing. I hope I'm not commentator cursing him, but it's cool to see him back up there.
And the one that we talked about, Alan Martin, doing a fantastic job of saving equipment. He made that set of tires last all the way out here to lap number 30. He has not made an appearance on pit road yet this evening. And already working lap 32 here. Waiting to see when pit lane is going to open. You would think it would be this time by, but I don't think they've packed there. They're now caught up behind the iRacing safety car. And James, I would think we're pretty sure we're going to see everybody down pit road here at this point.
Yeah, there's no point in staying out. You're going to need tires. You're going to need fuel. You'd be an absolute fool to stay out at this point. But we've been wrong before.
It looks like we will see everybody come down the pit road this time by, with the exception of the cars that are 1 or more laps down. First place, Nick Lockard, all the way back through 12th place, Mike Pittman Jr. on the pit road. Cody Henderson, Buck Darby also in. They will get an EOL penalty for stopping on the wrong lap, basically. We keep an eye on Nick Lockard. Crew already done their work on the right-hand side. They'll head around, get the left up in the air for Goodyear Racing Eagles. 2 cans, Sunoco Fuel. He's down and away, but Chapman's got a big head of steam. Andrew Chapman going to win the race off pit road. And I am not entirely sure. Well, I guess we know how. 49.02 seconds the time on pit lane. Total time from cone to cone. 51.4 seconds for Nick Lockard. Difference of about a half second on the pit stops as well. Jason Miz, Peter Hodgson, Art Greco going to be your top 5. Andrew Schroeder, Robert Thorns, Andy Briganti, Garrett Velzy, Alan Martin, your top 10. Darrell Rector, 41.5 second pit stop. Total 1 minute 18 on the pit lane. Taylor Toller is in. Mike Pittman still in the pit lane as well. Service time over 70 seconds now for Mike Pittman Jr. So some damage repair going on there. Wendell Elliott back on the racetrack. He runs at 14th. Cody Henderson's pit side. Mark McCurdy out of the race. Buck Darby in the pits as well. Evan Kelsey also now being scored out of the race. So lights are out on the iRacing safety car. We're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Andrew Chapman, Nick Lockard on row number 1. Jason Miz, Peter Hodgson on row 2. Art Greco and Andrew Schroeder will occupy the 3rd row. Robert Thorns, Andy Briganti, Garrett Velzy, Darrell Rector, the rest of your top 10. Alan Martin, Mike Pittman, and Taylor Toller, the final cars on the lead lap. And Toller getting the lucky dog. He was your pole sitter earlier tonight. Caught up in the early incident. So at lap number 35, going up on the scoreboard, green flags back in the air. Race fans, y'all at home, you can go ahead and crank it up. .35 laps in the scorebooks. Andrew Chapman uses a fantastic restart to get out to a 5-6 car length lead over Nick Lockard into corner number 1. And from here, Patrick, I'll tell you what, we're now in full-on strategy mode because no guaranteed caution at the stage 2 completion at lap 60.
Yeah, being such a big track, you can save a ton of fuel here, save a ton of tires. I have one very specific NIS race I remember here, 100 laps just like this one, where I ran out of fuel right as I crossed the checkered flag. I didn't end up winning that race, but I did play the strategy perfectly on that one, and I expect to see some drivers doing the same.
Chapman working his way around Wendell Elliott. Next up going to be Nick Lockard. He'll have Jason Miz all over his rear bumper. Peter Hodgson, Art Greco, they're all single filed out. And the wild racing we saw at the end of the stage, we may not see for a little while yet now.
Yeah, these drivers are going to be basically lifting and coasting the entire way through the corners. They don't want to be pushing their stuff right now. They're going to let Andrew Chapman build that gap, sit in that clean air. Clean air usually a huge advantage. Here you want the draft just so you can save that fuel, so I don't expect to see any huge moves just yet.
Yeah, that was a massive shove by Jason Miz down the front straightaway, getting Nick Lockard back to within a couple of car lengths. Now Lockard going to get a big tow from Chapman down the back straightaway. Interesting one here, James, is that we've got 13 of the 18 cars on the lead lap. However, not all of those cars are completely unscathed here. All the way back to, I know Taylor Toller in 11th, possibly Garrett Velzy in 10th. They've all had some pretty significant damage at various points during this race.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you how you can persevere and still get some pretty good results. I mean, their car, Taylor, we saw flip, and he's still sitting just outside the top 10. So it just goes to show you what just sticking around and persevering can really get you.
I was going to say, we saw full-on Tour Modifieds running around at Charlotte, so I'm not surprised these guys are staying on track here.
Nick Lockard all by his lonesome. Now he's going to have a little bit of help from Art Greco in the 72. Going to be Miz and Hodgson up on the top lane. Now Miz is going to dive down to the inside. Lockard's going to get that little bit of drafting help that he needs here. Hodgson going to have to fall in line. 40 laps now in the books. 60 to go here at the Auto Club Speedway. Good battle back further in the pack here as well. Alan Martin looking down to the inside of Andrew Schroeder. got Andy Briganti just ahead of him. Robert Thorns just back behind him. Garrett Velzy 1.7 seconds off of this group of cars. Interesting point of strategy to note here, and maybe this might be some of what Garrett Velzy is doing towards the back. We're anticipating stops as potentially as late as lap 66. If you stopped at lap 32 and you can make it to 66, that's going to get you to lap 100. However, 35 may be a little bit of an upper limit. So if you start the fuel saving early enough in the run, could we be in one more stop territory?
You're definitely going to see a lot of people trying. Whether or not they can save enough, that's going to be remains to be seen, because they are going to be cutting it close. But if you put enough effort into it, you might be able to pull it off. The only thing is, how much time are you going to cost yourself with having to blow up so much on older tires? Because I had a race recently where I tried to play the fuel save and I made it. I just ended up losing more time than I would have if I had stopped, even losing the spot. So just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Oh man, Andy Briganti getting into the back of Buck Darby down the front straightaway. Kind of caught the four machine in an awkward spot.
James, I'm going to take the flip side on that. If you can run that high line and there's someone that's going to run up there with you, you can put it in neutral and coast through these corners and not burn up your tires that badly, and you're going to save a ton of fuel doing that. The biggest problem with that is finding someone that's going to run that high line with you and tow you along like a semi-truck going down the highway.
Big move to the outside by Andrew Chapman. He's going to reclaim the lead from Jason Miz. Miz tries to throw it up right in front of Lockard. Now he throws the block down to the inside. That was two massive bizzles by Jason Miz.
It almost looks like they're redoing Talladega Nights out there.
My goodness, that was a little
Slingshot
extreme. Yeah, really.
Engaged.
It's called using one groove of car to block 7 lanes.
Looking back in the pack here now, Andy Briganti. Wonder if that car doesn't have a little bit of damage on it. See if we can get you a closer look at it. Front end looks okay. Oh, almost making some contact. Not sure if that was right side Romance from Briganti or left side Lovin from Thorns, but both of those cars going to keep things on the straight and narrow, get back towards turn number 1. Pick up the fight at the front of the field once again. This is a 5-car battle for the race lead. Lockard looks down to the inside of Miz. This is one of the things I love about these bigger tracks and the package the Cup cars run. You're going to run the shorter line down to the inside, but the outside can keep the momentum wound up, and it really gives you 2 lanes that are going to turn almost identical lap times.
Yeah, this is exactly what it was designed to do. We are watching exactly why this package exists. For better or worse.
Getting caught up on Cody Henderson once again. Henderson will stay out of the way on the high side of the racetrack. Still side by side between Lockard and Miz.
See, you just saw it right there. That bottom line, this track is so balanced. Bottom line is short enough to where you can get right up to them and almost pass them on the bottom line. But the car on the high side, they're going to make it all back up with the extra straightaway speed. So it's very, very difficult to make a move here. You almost have to wait for the guy above you or below you to make a mistake to actually seal the deal.
Miz almost got up into the outside wall on the exit of turn number 2. Looks like the car's in pretty good shape. Locker going to slide up in front of Peter Hodgson. Hodgson moves down to the inside. This is one of those where I would imagine it's very easy to get freight trained as a driver and probably can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, you got to stay in the draft just like Daytona or Talladega, except you're going much faster around this track, so getting hung out in the dry happens a lot more quickly, and there's a lot less you can do about it. Whereas Daytona or Talladega, you can just slot right back in line. Here, there's a little more action you have to get into. You have to actually lift for these corners, and it's really difficult to stay with the pack here.
Yeah, you kind of have to pick and choose what exactly you want to do, because if you pull out to make a pass and you don't pull it off, you are going all the way to the back. So oftentimes your best bet is to just kind of stay there, hope someone else is the big dummy, and then you move right past them for the...
Jason Miz coming around Nick Lockard off in turn 2. That was exciting through turn number 1. Lockard, a little bit of return the favor throw in the big block on Miz. Now Chapman going to start to snake his way down the front straightaway. Of note tonight here in the playoff run, I think only 2 of the Performance Sim Sport cars are in the field tonight. Jason Miz, who runs in the 2nd position. Wendell Elliott running in 14th, several laps down, getting a little bit of a late start. I believe he may have had a connection issue. Seeing a little love for Cody Henderson in the comments. Cody currently being scored. 10 laps in arrears to race leader Andrew Chapman. Seeing Zach Evans checking in on Twitch. It appears slightly easier to pass here than it was for the IndyCars today in Nashville.
Oh man, that IndyCar race, I've seen Indy fixed races on iRacing go cleaner than that one. I think I fell asleep right about that red flag that happened.
Yeah, that one was, well, we'll say it this way. It's going to get discussed tomorrow night. You'll get to hear all about it Tuesday morning. The Pizza at the Pagoda podcast. Check it out on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Just do a search for the NRN podcast, and you'll get the latest episode of Pizza at the Pagoda. Working lap number 53. Chapman still the race leader by 1/3 of a second over Jason Miz. And he's able to open the gap up just a little bit. Locker tries to side draft the 64, swings back down to the inside. I would imagine, James, we're going to see those side drafts get significantly more aggressive the deeper we go in this race.
Oh, they're gonna go from side drafts to full-on side swipes. We ain't seen nothing yet.
Lockard with drafting help down to the inside of Jason Miz, entering turn number 3. Top 4 have broken away a little bit from Art Greco. Call it a half second. Got to go back 3 full seconds to Alan Martin running in the 6th position. Martin going to be locked in a battle with Andrew Schroeder, Robert Thorns. Those cars nose to tail. So we will continue to focus our attention here at the front. Man, another huge block by Miz sliding up the racetrack. I would imagine at some point as a driver, you just say, okay, enough is enough. I'm not backing out the next time this guy does this.
Yeah, after you get your nose cut off enough times, eventually you just say screw it and don't really care about the race anymore and just keep your foot in it and turn them.
Dumps and dive bombs aplenty potentially coming late in this race here at the Auto Club Speedway. Garrett Velzy on pit road here at lap number 56. That sort of is a little bit of an interesting strategy call because Velzy stopped at lap 32. The stop at lap 56 only gets him to 90. I can't imagine you would be thinking totally set up for the end of this one, would you?
He's going to be banking on cautions. There's just no way.
There's some damage going on there with the number 48 machine. He's now over 40 seconds in pit time. Tough break there for Garrett Velzy. He's going to run in the 13th position. Three to go in stage number 2. And again, no caution flag at the end of this stage. Velzy back out on the racetrack after a pit stop time of 55.25 seconds. It's going to see him go a couple of laps down. Art Greco now 2.5 seconds back of Peter Hodgson for the 4th position. Oh, here comes Jason Miz down the pit lane. This certainly makes things interesting here because our understanding was they should have been able to go to the end of the stage. Jason Miz is going to lose a lot of stage points here potentially.
He might not be worried about the stage points. He might just be worried about the overall points, trying to get the undercut on all the rest of the drivers.
Miz falls back to the 11th position. Already 1 lap in arrears. Well, he's going the lap down now. 14.85 seconds the time of the stop for Jason Miz. And again, there's no caution flag here, so it's not like you're trying to kind of snooker the stage break in some way. Off of turn number 4, Andrew Chapman going to pick up the win here in stage number 2. Nick Locker, Peter Hodgson, Art Greco, Andrew Schroeder, your top 5. Alan Martin, Robert Thorns, Andy Briganti, Taylor Toller, Mike Pittman, the top 10 that will score points this evening. And there are the 10 cars left on the lead lap. Darrell Rector just making his way out of the pit area. Jason Miz able to come around those cars easily on the fresh tires. And judging by what I'm seeing here, using that 50-second time delta, Andrew Chapman would actually come out behind Jason Miz if he were to stop on this lap. So they're giving up a ton of time here to Jason Miz.
Like I said, Jason.
The question becomes, if you can get to 66 or 67, you can make it on one more stop. Miz has to stop again.
If a caution doesn't come out. Right now, I think Miz is on a superior strategy, just trying to get the undercut. There's bound to be another caution, even though I know saying that, now we're going to go green the entire rest of the race. So, I don't think what Jason did was a bad move. I think it was definitely a risk, but I think he's definitely still in it and has a shot.
I think Jason Miz is sitting in the catbird seat right now. The longer these cars stay out, the more that gap increases to the point that they may not even be in the draft of Jason Miz. However, for the strategy to play out here for Miz, he needs nobody to make it on one more stop, and he needs to not see a caution until this cycle of pit stops has completed. Seeing some of the lap cars that have the fresh tires here. Garrett Velzy, Darrell Rector, they're just slicing their way through these race leaders. To give you an idea on the lap times here, coming across the start-finish line, 42.74 seconds was the lap time for Andrew Chapman, 42.67 for Nick Lockard. Jason Miz, how about 41.05? He's flirting with a 2.75, almost 2 seconds a lap faster than what these cars are going. However, they've now made it to lap 66.
Almost contact between Lockard and Chapman.
Man, this is really going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the rest of this race.
I was going to say, Jason Miz almost has half a track on them already. So I don't know if staying out right now is the right move. I think even with having the pit again, Jason Miz is not in a bad position.
No, and at lap 67, now you're really getting to that window of we can make it the rest of the way on one more stop. Here comes Chapman and Peter Hodgson. Nick Lockard actually going to be able to stay out another lap. So we'll follow the pit stops here for Andrew Chapman and Peter Hodgson. Chapman in his box cleanly. Car already up all on the right-hand side. Once again, it'll be 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans Sunoco fuel. Jason Miz has already come around Chapman and Hodgson, and he has a wide margin over these cars. Now race leader Nick Lockard making his way down the pit lane. Jason Miz is going to have a huge lead here. The question is, does he have enough to compensate for the extra pit stop that he's going to have to make?
Lockard
overshoots the box.
He's too far.
He's too far left. Oh my goodness.
You can
That
definitely
is
tell.
race over for Nick Lockard without a caution flag anyway.
I was going to say, I don't think Nicholas Lockard lives anywhere near a major city because his parallel parking skills do need a little bit of work. You don't need him out in the countryside, but in the city you definitely do. So we might have to buy him a taxi ride to a city and just give him a little training there.
So we'll show you the gaps here. How about a 12-second lead for Jason Miz? And now he's got drafting help. He could, well, I say he could sit beside Taylor Toller. That 20 machine was very, very quick earlier tonight. In fact, your pole sitter by almost 0.2 of a second. If I'm Jason Miz, I've got to park myself here. Try to conserve as much as possible.
Jason Miz now at an 11-second gap on the rest of the field. I'm guessing Jason wants a caution right about like lap 85 to 90. Unfortunately, that would bunch up the field for him, but that would give him a chance to take a pit stop, and everyone else is going to be on junk tires. So if nobody else pits, he's going to go down the 9th place and be on super fresh tires and be able to run up through the field. If everyone else pits, he's going to stay right up there at the front. So it's a win-win situation for him. He just has to make sure there's not a caution until that 85 or 90.
Yeah, and honestly, he may be in the clear as far as that, because they are pretty spread out now, so it's going to take something pretty wacky to cause a caution.
Now, if there's not a caution, I don't know how well he's going to do unless he has to pit early enough where he can build another half a track on the rest of the field. Then he would secure himself back in the lead. But if there is not a caution, it's still a toss-up. I can't do that math in my head and see exactly where he's going to be. Andrew Chapman, however, is closing the gap just a little bit, so I think those super, super fresh tires do have an advantage probably for the first 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, we'll see if he can pull off the overcut like he did at Charlotte. Yeah, Miz is humming. He is now down under 10 seconds, about 9.5.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to save as much fuel as he can, see if he can make it all the way to the end, but I don't think sitting in front of this 20 car here, he's going to do it. He's going to have to get back and just sit in the draft if he wants to try that. It also might be Andrew Chapman may have a draft from other cars. However, looking at my track map, it doesn't look like he's got anyone in front of him. He's got about half straightaway until another car appears in front of him. So he's just cruising by himself right now.
So tell you what here, guys, we're looking at, this is going to be on the short end of this too, probably lap 83 to lap 87. I think we're going to see Jason Miz have to come into the pits. Show you the stint lengths for these drivers. Miz has run a 15-lap stint, but how about the difference there? Miz getting 26 laps out of his car, 35 laps for Chapman and Hodgson. Martin going 29, Greco 29, Lockard 36. That extra lap cost him not only a position, but a couple of seconds out there on the racetrack. This is currently the closest battle on the racetrack right now. Robert Thorns, Andrew Schroeder.
Yeah, it seems the whole field has just spread themselves way out under that green flag caution period. Me and James were discussing, I don't know if there's going to be another caution in this race. I mean, these cars are so far apart, it's mainly just going to be someone getting loose and spinning out at this point.
Taking a look here from the NRN drone. Thank you very much, Connor Baldwin, handling the camera design for us here at Auto Club Speedway. Fantastic job as always, brother. And here's where Miz has got to, I'll say it this way, Miz is in trouble if he has to pit, because that gap is 6 seconds and shrinking rapidly back to Andrew Chapman.
Andrew Chapman closing the gap to about half a second. In the last probably 5 or 6 laps, Chapman has closed about half that gap. So I don't know if Jason Miz is just sitting back and letting that gap close, or if he is just that much slower right now.
Well, here, let's show you the gaps. Miz averaging about 1 second a lap slower, maybe 8/9 a lap slower than Andrew Chapman is right now. Chapman has fresher tires, and he should be able to make it to the end on fuel. Oh, there's your answer. Jason Miz on pit road here at lap number 78. That will get him to the end of the race, but the question now becomes, can anybody else make it the rest of the way here? Miz hits the marks cleanly. It's going to make your new race leader, Andrew Chapman, by 6 seconds over Alan Martin. Peter Hodgson runs in the 3rd position. In fact, we'll kind of run you through the field here. Get you a good look at the 05 Landshark Chevrolet of Alan Martin. Running in the 3rd position, the All-American Budweiser colors of Peter Hodgson. Petey Pop up 14 positions to currently run in 3rd. Running 4th right now, Nick Lockard in the Lockard.it, number 10. One of the series sponsors of the High Slide Cup Series. Make sure you keep an eye on those logos in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Give those businesses your support where possible. Running in the 5th position is Art Greco, about 1.5 seconds behind Lockard. Monster Energy colors on that number 72 Chevrolet. Robert Thorns, the South Park 36, runs in the 6th position. Seventh place for the New York Jets entry of Andrew Schroeder. Running in the 8th position, up 6 from the drop of the green flag, the Lamborghini colors on a Chevrolet Camaro for Andy Briganti. Jason Miz has come out of the pits in the 9th position. If everybody else ahead of him does not have to pit, Jason Miz is going to be in a world of hurt here, as he's about 6.5 seconds back of Andy Briganti. He'll gain a few spots, but we'll see how much he's going to be able to gain. The 20 of Taylor Toller's gone from being on his roof to running in the 10th position, as he's going to battle with the 17. The Valvoline Toyota Camry of Mike Pittman. Both of those cars being scored 1 lap in arrears, a race leader, Andrew Chapman, as we work lap number 83. Here's Alan Martin down the pit road. I would imagine here, guys, maybe 67 wasn't enough because that's counting on a lot of drafting help. And it seems like there may not be much of that going around at this point.
No, all these cars are super spaced out. This is a 2-mile speedway. We only have 18 cars on track right now. Actually, looks like 16 cars on track, so that's a lot of space between everyone if everyone was evenly spaced. And it's very difficult to close those gaps up around here. It's not like Daytona or Talladega where you got a draft going 3, 4, 5 car lengths back. I mean, you have to slow down for these corners, and aero push is a thing, so it's very hard to seal that deal and get right back up to a bumper.
See who else is going to have to come down pit road. Here's Peter Hodgson and Nick Lockard. Lockard's made a fantastic comeback from the issues he had on pit road. Seeing Matt Wagner checking in here in the comments. Soon to be crowned champion of the Grid Rival Ezra IndyCar Series. You'll see that coming up Thursday night here on the National Racing Network. Show you the pit stop laps here. Jason Miz stopping at 78. Art Greco at 61. He's going to be due on the pit road any time. The big questions are Andrew Chapman, Nick Lockard, and Peter Hodgson. Can those cars go the rest of the way on their current fuel loads? Taking a look at Andrew Chapman, he's going to come out about half a track behind Jason Miz if he has to stop. See if we can go on board here. Definitely doesn't sound like he's at full throttle. In fact, turning lap times in the 42s and way out of the throttle in the corners. We're seeing this gap would be about 17 seconds back to Andy Briganti. Briganti actually, and again, he's kind of on the same strategy call here. So if he has to stop, again, it's the ifs and buts game, but Andrew Chapman looking like he would actually fall behind 8th place running Andy Briganti to be the last car on the lead lap.
I don't think we're going to get another caution here, so I don't think being the last car in the lead lap or even first car 1 lap down is going to be a huge deal at this point. I think it's a little too late to be playing those games.
Art Greco making his way down pit road. We talked about how he was going to have to stop fairly soon. Last stopped at lap number 61. He's coming in here on lap number 88. Based on the fact that these drivers aren't hitting the number, there's no way Jason Miz could have to stop again, could he?
No, I don't think so, because he last pit at lap 78. That's only 22 laps he has to go, and we've seen these drivers go well over 22 laps before, so I think he should definitely be all right.
Yeah, the only way that would be an issue is if he full-on big smoothed it and didn't put enough gas in.
Now that would be a big smooth move of the race.
Should be plenty good there. 15.27 seconds was the time of the stop. I would imagine Miz probably stopped at the window where he was going to be good for the potential green-white checkered finish even. At least you would think so.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if the number was 67, we were predicting they can get about 33 laps out of these cars if they were saving. I think going, 26, 25 laps on a tank of gas is no big stretch. Then you have the caution if we get a green-white checkered. He could definitely make it that 30 laps.
I tell you what, it looks like Chapman is absolutely crawling down the straightaways. Very much has an Alexander Rossi-esque clutch and coast feel to it here. We can pull up the driver's real-time speed. How about 178 miles an hour on corner entry into turn 3? Jason Miz up over 180.
Oh, that is absolutely crawling. Before we had this high downforce package on the cars, these cars are doing 210 entering those turns. So being in the 170s going in is just, it's almost like he's walking around out there with his cane and everything. He's just trying to save that fuel so he can make it the bingo club after this race.
I tell you what, he's gonna take the winner's check with him to the bingo hall if he's able to make this fuel run last. Miz already up to the 5th position. Let's update you on where Jason Miz is as he crosses the start-finish line. Rapidly catching up on Robert Thorns for the 4th position. Currently running 27 seconds or so behind Andrew Chapman. He's got a long way to go if he's going to get caught up there.
Ooh, a little bit of contact.
Miz not taking any prisoners, that's for sure. How about the great runs for a couple of these cars tonight? Robert Thorns in the 36, Andrew Schroeder in the 47, Peter Hodgson up 14 to currently run in the 3rd position. They are hoping these fuel tanks don't run dry. Hodgson has about 8 3/4 seconds on Andrew Chapman. Chapman working lap number 94 of 100. We are inside of 10 to go. In fact, it'll be 6 to go next time by the start-finish line. Barely touching 180 miles an hour down the front straightaway, and Chapman all the way down to 159, 154 on the exit of corner number 2. He's definitely conserving. Does that Virginia Tech engineering degree coming out of Andrew Chapman, is he going to have enough to make it? Getting some drafting help now from Buck Darby down the front straightaway. Alan Martin going to duck to his inside. Almost making contact on the entry to turn number 1. Martin running in the 8th position.
I don't know if Jason has enough to make it all the way up to the front anymore. He's running about the same lap times as 3 guys ahead of him. If Andrew Chapman, Lockhart, or Hodgson doesn't need to pit, I think it's over for Jason Miz. But you never know. Green-white checker comes out, and those guys might not have enough fuel to make it.
See Matt Wagner checking in the comments. Too bad they are killing this track. Yes, yes, yes. This does not need to be one of the racetracks they turn into a short track. However, that's what it's going to become here in the next couple of years.
That's really disappointing, too. I mean, this facility is large enough to where they could build a short track, same exact short track, on the inside of turn 3 and 4, and put up the same amount of grandstands they want to, and just have an awesome facility on the inside and an even awesomer facility on the outside. But unfortunately, the whole thing's coming down.
Yeah, sounds like most of the front straightaway will stay intact, and outside of that, it's going to be a half-mile high bank. Basically, Bristol of the West is kind of what it sounds like. 3 laps to go for Andrew Chapman, 42.6 seconds the last time by. Jason Miz, again, yeah, like you said, Patrick, right in that 42.6 second bracket. You wonder if he's not having to do some fuel saving here. Did have an issue on the racetrack for Garrett Velzy. Get you the replay here real quick. Little cone aside off of turn number 2. He's going to come to a stop and take the toe in. Down to 2 laps to go for Andrew Chapman.
I see that cone was put back up. I really feel bad for the marshals on the sim here. We have to run out on a hot racetrack and re-put the cone back up. But it must be a scary job. I hope they're paid well.
At least it's better than having to work New Phoenix when it's the no dog leg version.
I thought he was about to say better than working for NRN. White flags in the air. 1 lap to go for Andrew Chapman. Does he have enough fuel? Nick Lockard is starting to catch him, but not by much. Peter Hodgson holding on as well. Down the backstretch through 3 and 4. And he can just about coast from here. Checkered flag is in the air. Andrew Chapman gets the win at Auto Club.
What a strategy.
Nothing hokey about that performance.
The unluckiest man in sim racing finally gets the win. That is awesome. I'm glad to see him right back up there in the front.
Not only is he fuel saving, but he's checking in the comments as well. Fantastic. Chapman gets the win. Nick Lockard comes home in second. Peter Hodgson will be your third place finisher this evening. Jason Miz in fourth. Robert Thorns will round out your top 5.
Petey Pop on the podium. Let's go.
We're going to have to ask Chapman if he's in VR, because I will be amazingly impressed by him commenting that if he was in VR as well.
Get you a good look at Andrew Chapman. He's going to burn him down here at the start-finish line. Had enough fuel for the burnout as well. Show you your race results before we get to the victory lane interviews. Andrew Chapman, the winner by 9.6 seconds over Nick Lockard. Peter Hodgson rounds out the podium. Jason Miz, Robert Thorns, your top 5. Andrew Schroeder, Andy Briganti, Alan Martin, Mike Pittman, and Art Greco complete the top 10. 11 to 15, Taylor Toller, Wendell Elliott, Daryl Rector, Garrett Velzy, and Cody Henderson. Buck Darby, Mark McCurdy, and Evan Kelsey will complete the field here this evening. Absolutely spectacular drive we saw from some of these drivers here tonight, and start to get some of them lined up here for the victory lane interviews. Let's kick things off with our third place finisher here this evening, Peter Hodgson. And I tell you what, Peter, the PD Pop Nation's got to be losing their minds out here. Fantastic run here. Up 14 spots to finish in third tonight.
Yep, and that's tied for my third best ever. And in high slide, I've only come in third. This is my tied for my best. But, yeah, the PD Pop Maniacs are going nuts right now because I'm from California, so this is pretty much my home track. We don't go to Sonoma, but we go to California.
This race could not have played out differently from what we might have expected. Tight pack racing, a lot of drafting, and all of a sudden we hit green stop after green stop, and you guys got all spaced out. How difficult was it to manage the fuel late in that last run?
Everybody was just talking about that. I didn't have to save that much. I stayed out until I think 67. I should have stayed out until 68 or 69 if I could have. But that's what actually ended up happening to Miz. He came in at a 63, so he was a lap or two short, but he was trying to clutch it. He wasn't able to make it, so I didn't have to clutch it or anything. I was just letting off into 1 and 3, just rolling it all the way through the middle of the corner when I was trying to save gas. So that got me a quarter of the track the entire time. Every lap, that'd be almost, about a quarter of a turn.
It was an impressive drive and fantastic run. How did you avoid some of the early carnage that you had happening in front of you?
I saw I got lucky on that first one where it collected about, I think, 6 cars or so. It was the second wreck. I got a good run going down the back straightaway, and I went low. Like I thought maybe I could freight train 4 cars. I was able to freight train like 8 because everybody ran into each other. So they all washed up into the track, and I ended up going by them, and I think I was in 4th or 5th. And then that's where I ended up actually that's where I gained all my track position, was able to keep it the entire race right there.
Well, fantastic run for you. Congratulations on the podium finish here tonight. Who do you want to thank?
I got to give a shout out to all the PD Pop Maniacs out there. Thank you very much. All the guys who are in my chat, we all encourage each other. They gave me some pointers tonight. I'd like to thank my dad. He listens to every single one of these races on the way home. He's got a 3-hour drive home, so he's at the 2-hour mark. So hopefully he's relatively happy now. And I want to thank you guys. Thank Greg, or thank the entire just group, the admins and stuff, because right now they're kind of stretched out. Everybody's going back to work and stuff like that. So I wanted to thank everybody for that too.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job putting this series together. So thank you much, Peter. Congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. Let's bring in our runner-up, Nick Lockhart. And Nick, we haven't got to see you for a few weeks here, but you put on a heck of a show here again in your trip back into the high slide.
Yeah, I kind of beat myself up there. I overshot the pit box, and I was too close to the wall, and then I was too far back, so that really hurt me, and I was behind the 8 ball coming out on that green flag pit stop, but luckily we hit our marks and rallied back for a second place, so all in all, not too bad.
Yeah, that was about 9 seconds that you lost on pit road, 9-10 seconds, and that was the gap. Do you think you would have had anything for Andrew had it been a 2-car duel late in this?
That's a great question. I know when he took the lead on that restart, he was definitely tough. He went out there, and I was battling with Jason Miz there for a while, and he was tough as well. And so, to be honest, I don't think I really had a good, clean opportunity to test it against him. So I'd like to think I would, but he definitely had a hell of a car tonight. So
it was a fantastic run for you, and really the points night that you needed here as we get ready to head into the last 3 or so races of the season.
Yeah, I know with me being gone these last few weeks, it's definitely kind of hurt me as well in the points, so it was good to get a podium finish here. Hopefully we can make it to the next round here and get something, another good finish or another win before this is all said and done with.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Appreciate everything you do. As always, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Lockhart IT and Pay to Win Setups.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. We appreciate the time. And let's get the man of the hour here. We said there was nothing hokey about that finish. The number 22, Virginia Tech Chevrolet Camaro in victory lane here tonight, Andrew Chapman. absolutely epic drive. How close were you on fuel? You obviously had enough to do the burnouts. Oh, let's see. Andrew, do you have us? All right, we'll leave the line open here with Andrew. Hopefully he's able to hear us, or at least going to get his mic set up here. I'll tell you what, guys, as we wait for Andrew to come back in, I am thoroughly impressed at the drive that Chapman, Lockard, and Hodgson put in here to make that fuel run last about as long as we thought it could possibly go on fuel.
Yeah, like I said, this track, it's one of those tracks where you can save fuel and still be competitive, and that's exactly what happened. I assume there was a ton of lifting and coasting going on, ton of just saving the tires, but Andrew was able to pull it off and get that checkered flag.
Yeah, if it wouldn't get us demonetized, I'd queue up Enter Sandman here. That's what Virginia Tech enters Lane Stadium to for their home football games, and that was basically a lights-out performance from Chapman here this evening, James.
Yeah, that was incredible. I am in awe of how much fuel he was able to save. That was a heck of a drive, not overdriving the car and getting exactly what he needed out of it to make it in the end.
Well, let's try this one more time here. Andrew Chapman, Chris Graham in the NRM booth. Do you have a copy on us? Well, looks like we don't have our race winner tonight, unfortunately. We'll see if we can get him keyed up here. Try it one more time. Andrew Chapman, do you have a copy on us? I guess not. Looks like, unfortunately, we don't have our race winner here tonight, but I'll tell you what, guys, once again, just an absolutely fantastic drive. Not many cars without damage here this evening, and Andrew Chapman was one of them.
Yeah, I'm going to take a guess and say Andrew run to a different room of his house, just trying to grab that champagne and really celebrate this victory.
Yeah, that one was it was impressive. That is for sure. And heading into the next couple of weeks of the playoffs here, we've got a pretty good race developing for the points championship. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for the High Slide Cup Series. 1 week from tonight, we will be at the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a 200-lap racing event. Stage is at 50 and 100, which is going to be pretty interesting to watch how that race develops. Could turn out to be another fuel save run like we saw here tonight. In 2 weeks, we head to Chicagoland Speedway, 131 laps the distance, and close things out August the 29th, Texas Motor Speedway, where we will crown another High Slide Cup Series champion. Taking a look here, see if, yeah, it looks like we've lost our race winner, unfortunately. So with that, we will wrap up our coverage here. Yes, okay. Here we can maybe do this one by text here. Andrew checking in the comments saying technical issues, fun race. Getting the lead on the second to last pit stop was key. Yeah, I would really tend to agree with that, guys. At that point, he could set the pace and the tone of how the rest of that race was going to run, so long as they didn't get the yellow flag.
Yeah, just being able to keep it in front, it's a real huge advantage. You're basically either pulling the field along with you, forcing everyone to go fast and they want to, or you could back it down and kind of save and have everyone relax unless someone wants to pounce and start pushing you. And that's exactly what he did. He just controlled the race, kept himself in the lead, had to back it down and save a little bit at the end, but with the huge gap he had, it was no issue.
Well, with that, we're going to wrap up our coverage here this evening from the Auto Club Speedway. But first, got to make sure we say a huge thank you to all of the presenting sponsors of our broadcast here on the National Racing Network, including Hot Shoe Racewear. Find them online at hotshoeracewear.com. And Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. You can find them on Facebook at Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Presenting sponsors for the High Slide Cup Series include Ray's Import out of Smithfield, Virginia, Lockard.it, Aquatic Express Pool Service, and Alarm Technology Security Systems. And get the couple of quick comments in before we get off the air here. Andrew Chapman saying, was able to work the lines against teammates, which it's not often that you hear that kind of thing come up, but when you get deep into the playoffs here, that's becomes every man for himself and gobbled the field tonight. Yes, you did, sir. That was an absolutely fantastic drive. But with that, we're going to wrap up our coverage. For Patrick Byrne and James Watson, camera designed by Connor Baldwin. My name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you all hanging out with us here this Sunday night. We will talk to you soon. Have a great night, everybody.